We're live!
Ding!
Metal Lab is live and tired. It's been a busy weekend for us, guys. So thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the recorded stream. It was a heck of a busy weekend. We got a little bit to talk about this week. Some news from last week with regards to a preview. Some news from this weekend with regards to how we did in the Windsor Rock, and some big news for us here in Canada. For those of you who aren't already in the know or haven't been informed, we are going to be sharing that with you guys tonight. But first, I want to go around the table and introduce those of you who are unfamiliar. We have Mike Payne.
Hello.
We have Jordan Sheffer.
What's up?
And we have Jay Solomon joining us today.
Why do I get the extra little tidbit there?
And Jay Solomon.
Am I special? Am I because I'm the only one here
You're
doing
the
the
most
ROC?
special. It doesn't get much more special than you, Jay.
Aw, we're all special in our own way.
Oh. So, now, because I've decided that I'm not going to be ready to go on this one, how's everybody recovering from tournament weekend? That's what first question I wanted to ask. Not necessarily like how you did in the tournament or anything about the tournament, but how's your recovery stage going right now?
90%?
You're about 90% now?
About 90%, yeah. I had a really good sleep last night and have worked a full day today, so I feel pretty much back to normal, but still on a cloud.
All right. Jordan, yourself?
I'm still dying. I got really sick right after that car trip. I've been popping Tylenol as often as possible, but I've been able to eat a few things. My stomach's not so queasy anymore. You know, the 14 hours of not eating anything was pretty crazy before.
The tournament diet is king.
Yeah, that. Well, Jay went all.
Jay, I think we lost Jay. Oh, what happened? Jay, what were you saying?
How late were you people up that first night there?
I think
Oh my god.
the tournament ran between like 9:30 and we left at like 11.
Yeah.
We left at 11, and then we went and met Kevin and Patrick at a bar, and were there until 2:30 in the morning, and got up at, I don't know, 9, not even.
And I had one slice of pizza and like 8 Red Bulls in that time. That was my diet.
That is how you do.
Oh, and a lot of beers. A lot of beers afterwards, so I wasn't too good for the morning.
Shh. All right, so I've managed to pull it up, so let's get the share screen going here. Screen share.
Little thing that goes like this.
Yeah. And we do this. All right, so this week we got our first glimpse of con exclusives for this year, and the first one was the Weird. Now he's not a very particularly popular character for a lot of comic fans, and I know he first showed up in the late 80s, in 1988, I believe, was the short series that he was in, and then he's shown up again in the New 52 in the Stormwatch. Mechanically, this is probably one of the weirder figures you come across. You see, if you look at the figure, he's pointing. This is actually an important element of the character, as you'll see from the card that they have here. It's called the Fourth Dimension Teleport. Now, he ignores characters and blocking for movement. At the beginning of the game, place the Weird on the map so that his left hand is pointing in a direct line facing away from the nearest map edge. Of course, that will be with his back to whatever starting area you're in. Now, some starting areas are going to be a little weirder, but of course, I have to say that word. And this indicates the direction he is facing. When the Weird is moved or placed, he remains facing along the same direct line. During the beginning of the turn, you may give the Weird a move action as a free action, but with a locked speed value of 4, and only to move in the direct line that he is facing. When he does and actions resolve, the Weird may change his facing into any direct line. Now, this comes with some wacky stats. If you look at the stats, he goes from an 11 to a 9 attack, a 10 to a 9, 11, 9, 10, and then a 12 at the very end, with 13 movement with stealth, 18 defense with regeneration, 4 damage. He's got poison across the last 3 clicks, steal energy in the middle, and starts off with some pulse wave. He's got a special defense power. He can use super senses, and unless an attacking character occupies a square along the direct path in the exact opposite direction he is facing, he succeeds on a 3 to 6, which is an amazing or super senses roll until somebody hits you with a precision strike, and then that's an unfortunate fact. And then he's got a damage power which shows up on clicks 2 and 4, where he can take a free action, choose an adjacent friendly character. That character can immediately use phasing teleport as a free action with a lock speed value of 4. So at first glance, he's just kind of a move short distances over a large amount of time in one direction at first, while actually being able to move some friendly characters kind of in the middle of the dial. I want to go over everybody's impressions of this character, starting with Mike.
It's just weird. I mean, the directional facing thing, I don't think it's going to be very viable in the meta. I mean, as soon as I see a character that ignores blocking and characters, I'm like, that could be very good. But then it's just very unpredictable, and making the whole pointing action thing work for you, I don't know. I'm not sure how you'd actually make that work.
Now, one thing I did notice is that the pointing is only important to his trait and the free movement you get out of it.
And the senses.
Yeah, and the super senses with regards to who's hitting him. So if you can actually line that up in a decent enough manner, he's hard to hit, and he can move pretty quick. But Jordan, let's move on to your impressions.
Direction-wise, for his defensibility, it's almost, in most cases, unless you're sitting in like a brawl-type situation where everyone's just really moving short distances to get angles on people, to get a direct line of fire in the opposite direction he's facing is almost impossible if you're still like positioning and coming at each other. So that's one of the things that really benefits, I guess, that character specifically in his weirdness. But I don't think he really does anything stellar that would be worth 145 points in, I guess, a meta stance. So I pretty much stand with Mike, and he's not really super viable, but I think he's definitely weird and interesting to play for fun.
Yeah. And Jay, what do you think?
I don't see much meta potential here. Just no willpower. He's half your build. His defense is technically good, but then there's precision strike, or it can't be countered, but just precision strike or pulse wave, and then just the stats. There are good stats in there, but they're all randomized. When he has good attack, he doesn't have good damage generally, and vice versa. And his defenses leave a lot to be desired, and just he doesn't do things good for the points to be meta.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's expensive.
Yeah, like fun, not even close to meta. I just don't see it at all.
Yeah, and I'm saying a lot of the same thing for myself. I see the character as somebody who's going to be a lot of fun to play. I'm going to be playing him at my table game, I'm sure, a couple times at least. Mostly because, I do enjoy the idea that this character finally got made in Heroclix, although I didn't think he really had a space in the game, so I had lost all hope many years ago for him. I do wish he was more like what we saw in 1988, where he was wrecking faces and taking names, like, beating up the entire Green Lantern Corps. But we got what we got, and as a con exclusive that's not too hyper meta, it's kind of exciting to see a character that's going to have this kind of rarity, who's going to be fun to play at the table. I'm not going to feel guilty about playing it on the videos with Amber, and he's a pretty neat character who not everything has to break the game, right?
Yeah.
And he does have a couple neat common keywords. They showed a list of characters that shared keywords, but well, duh. So we have Cosmic, Mystical, and Stormwatch. Stormwatch is a little smaller, of course, than the Cosmic Mystical choices. I think you got a couple characters who are also Authority, and I know you can include the Martian Manhunter in that group that joins Stormwatch. Cosmic is one of those keywords that just finds itself in huge points most of the time. There's very few characters with Cosmic that don't really that can squeeze into things. Though 25 points for Cosmic, you're not going to lose theme if you can keep a Cosmic team with, say, entities on your team, because their keywords do include personally Cosmic, even though they add their keywords to the character that they're adding on, not necessarily replacing them. Yeah. As a whole, he's not the most stellar thing ever to be created, but he's going to be fun, and I can't wait to, see how wacky I can make him work and frustrate people trying to hit him.
You're not going to top the wackiness factor of Dupe. It's not going to happen.
Dupe is fairly wacky. But that said, we went to a big tournament this weekend, so let's talk about it. This past weekend was what was referred to as the Eastern Canada Super Qualifier. It was held in Windsor, Ontario, just across the border from Detroit for some of our U.S. fans. It's south in the province that we're in, being Ontario, so it's about a 4-hour drive from our major city. If it would have come from my city, it would have been a 3.5-hour drive, because that's, the difference is a half an hour. It's along the way kind of thing. And it was it's one of the last few months last few weeks left of the no tactic format, and it was the first event where Trinity War was legal. So we got, some of us I know had some Trinity War on our team, and I'm gonna let Mike talk about his team, because it's actually the same team as mine, as he thumped me the night before with the team I was playing in a very half comatose state, which made me have to rethink my team. So Mike, you take away your day first, because I think you're the longest actually to talk about it.
Okay, well, I played with Zombie Super Skrull, along with Johnny Quick, Lab Tech, so Star Labs Tech, and Blind Owl. And I'd never really played with the CSA team ability much before, so the fact that they brought in so many new CSA characters, or characters with team abilities into this set, is really, really fun for me, being relatively new at this point. I can't say new anymore, but yeah, I've still just finished my first year. I faced off against Kevin Afruz in my second match, and I remembered facing him last, and this is Kevin Afruz, current Team Up World Champion. And I remembered playing against him last year, and I was so green. He just thumped me. He was so nice to me. He just, took it fairly easy, played well, but taught me a lot about the game at the time. And I came back this year. It was great to be sitting across from him again, and I won. So that was a big accomplishment for me. I went 3-1 in the before the top 8. Managed to get into the top 8 in 4th position. And in my first match in the top 8, I couldn't roll above a 5. I was playing against another really good player as well, or a good player as well, and he was playing a Kyle Rayner with, what was it? Yeah, it was Kyle Rayner with Nightcrawler from DOFP, and what was the last piece of it? Oh, it was Loki. Mm-hmm. And I could not land an attack the entire game. But it was still really, really fun. I had a really, really great time. Prizing was great. I ended up with the points that I got using Zombie Super Skrull against Kevin, actually, because he was using Zombie Super Skrull as well. We exchanged one of my characters twice, and I ended up with over 1,000 points after the first 4 rounds, with 3-1, and ended up coming in 7th overall after the top 8 was finished. Great tournament. The side events were really, really fun as well. I know that Jordan will probably talk about his piece of this in a minute, because he did win one of the side events. But other than that, notes, I mean, pretty much there were a lot of Americans and Canadians there. There were only 2 Canadians that made it into the top 8, and that's fine by me. I mean, we all live in North America. This is, it's essentially the dual land of the free, quote unquote. But yeah, the guy that I had the most challenge with, just in I guess when we were both rolling fairly well, was Brian. Brian, I'm trying to remember his last name. He's somebody that I know online.
Tarowski?
Anyway, the guy with the Pushins. What is it? What's his name?
Tarowski, I think.
Yeah, Tarowski. Yeah, he played a similar team. It was Zombie Super Skrull with the new Batman from Trinity War set at 85 points, a Gotham Streets not the bat cycle, the motorcycle. And
Hop cycle.
I know the team.
that one, and there was one other piece to it. Anyway, he just kept barriering he used the submarine map, so he had a lot of walls, and it just kept burying the middle, so I couldn't really do anything. So I went out and around and tried to come in the other side. By the time I was over there, he was behind me and started attacking me from behind. The end result was really, really close, though. We went to time, and he had 33 points for my lab tech, and I had 25 points for his Bizarro.
Wow.
8 points.
Games like that, I tell you what.
I tell you what.
Wow.
I tell you what.
God damn it, Bobby. Oh.
Also, a noise we heard an awful lot of this past weekend. All right, Jordan, your turn to regale us your tale of the tournament.
Like Jason said about switching teams, I had a team that I've been playing for the last month and a half, and I decided that a couple days before the event I was going to change it, and then when I wrote down my army sheet, I made another change last second to take out Despotellis and Weasel to actually put in Tim Hunter. Now, my final build was White Witch, Tim Hunter, Johnny Quick, Star Labs Tech, and a Bat Cycle. Oh, as well as Blind Owl. My first round, I played against the guy that Mike had mentioned, who ended up placing third in the overall tournament. I was a little disappointed because the team I'd been playing for the last month and a half was perfectly made to beat his team. Unfortunately, I played terribly, and he steamrolled me with what was end up a third place team. Round 2, I played Jason over here
Glad
with
we
a
chatted
team
for that, eh?
with a team designed to beat Jason. I played so badly, and he played so well. I think what was the end result? 2 Johnny Quicks for me, and you a sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it took 160 points.
Killed my Johnny Quick, then you killed my your Johnny Quick after I ate it.
Damn you, Johnny Quick! I hate you so.
He's so awesome.
Then in round 3, I was able to play against George Massou, so I was super nervous, but apparently I learned how to play my team in round 2, so I was able to squeak out a win with Tim Hunter being the last guy on the board, so close.
Wow.
Yeah. Not quite like the last guy. I had like a Star Labs Tech and like a last click Bat Cycle, but it wasn't going to go well. I then, in round 4, got to play against another buddy of ours, Sharif, and that game was also super close, where it didn't look like in points at the end of it because I took a sweep and he took 0 points, but the difference in that game was if he killed my Tim Hunter with one of the mind control attacks from his greed, he would have locked down my team, and it would have just been over like there. And it would have been a 300 sweep in his favor and nothing for me. So that's how close that game was pretty much one attack. The main event, I ended up placing 12th overall, the worst out of us 3, but still pretty decent as the overall crowd, I guess. In the secondary event, which was for people who didn't place top 8, I ended up taking first. It was a 400 constructed, and it was no tactics, but characters who involved tactics were allowed to still use their traits. So I used 200-point Mordrew, 90-point Constantine, and 100-point Con Question. At the beginning of the game, I would just double power action, bring in Null's Hammer. Mordrew would choose Pulse Wave, and that was pretty much the end of all my games.
Yeah, themes based on team ability for that one too. That was really cool. I thought that was a neat idea.
Yeah. I made my pick. I stuck with it the whole weekend too.
CSA.
All right, so I guess it's my turn to regale. So, as we already know, my team is pretty much the same is exactly the same as Mike's. I played the Zombie Super Scroll, Johnny Quick, Star Labs Tech, and Blind Owl. I was very familiar with Johnny Quick in a previous build I had, because originally I was going to play a team that consisted of 2 Star Lab Techs, Freddie Freeman, Johnny Quick, the 25-point Atomica from the Fast Forces, and a blind out. But the matchup with Zombie Super Scroll was just my bloody nightmare. I mean, I've played I played against Mike at Wizard's Cache with it, and he beat me, but I was half asleep. So this time we switched tables, and practicing the night before, he was half asleep, and I was I was on my game, and he still beat me. So I had enough experience with the Zombie Super Scroll and the Johnny Quick. I felt this was a little bit more comfortable for me. Unfortunately, the matchups didn't end up working for me. As Mike had mentioned, he played against Brian Tarosky, and myself in the first round I played against Brian Tarosky, and I didn't look at his team close enough when I was picking the map, because I was the one silly enough to pick the Thunderbolt submarine map, and I completely didn't realize that, you know, Super Scroll starts with barrier naturally, so he could like sidestep forward barrier, just kind of keep a thing going where he's not too worried about my team, where I'm just kind of posturing to get just that perfect shot in with Johnny Quick that I can get in. But ultimately it came down to Johnny Quick. Johnny Quick was a pretty big failure on his Alpha Strike because he missed, I think, a pretty reasonably easy to hit. No, Johnny Quick killed the GCPD motorcycle. No. Yeah, and then the Super Skrull came in and killed Batman because he had the new Batman on his team at 85 points. It was a really amazing character, by the way. But then he counterattacked my Super Skrull with his Super Skrull. He was down pretty low. He ended up killing my Johnny Quick, and my Super Skrull was stuck on his last click at one point, and I made a big error in judgment in a lot of things with regards to what I was doing at the time. I was on tilt, which I really have to fix myself on, because I know one of my strategies is to put my opponent behind, and that puts them on tilt, but I'm still trying to work on being on tilt and being behind and reacting properly to things. So I neglected to give myself willpower with my Zombie Super Skrull, who was token, who had super senses, and I went for a close combat expert attack to steal energy on the Bizarro and, you know, get a Bizarro or kill a Bizarro at the very least and steal some energy back and give myself another virus token. Unfortunately, I neglected my willpower, missed the attack nonetheless, and with a precision strike close combat expert attempt, my Super Skrull caved on his own, and then it was all just kind of downhill from there. My Johnny Quick died shortly after, and it was just Blind Al left. So
you gotta risk it for biscuits, though.
Yeah, and that was I could have chose the willpower to give me that extra little bit of chance, because the willpower would have gained the click. I wouldn't have taken the push damage, which killed me, and I'd still have another click to take the power choosing damage on. So a lot of the situation could have been played out better in my side.
Right.
My second game, as Jordan said, I played against Jordan. And I knew Jordan's team was strong against my team. He had the White Witch to limit my free actions, so I had to pick and choose every single action I made, and I had to play a very defensive game, either choose to sidestep or choose a defensive power with my Super Skrull. But then I saw an opening in one turn where he had his Johnny Quick was pushed. I think it was after killing mine too, and he was next. He was out of a position to probability control me. I think the only option he had was to push Blind Owl with it. So I then sidestepped in. It was either a sidestep or a charge to attack the Johnny Quick, who didn't get it.
You did something like that, yeah.
And then I killed the Johnny Quick and left the Johnny Quick on the board to kind of. He would give me a probability control, or he would give me an extra body on the board to do some attacking with. But Jordan zoned in on it. Good on him. So I decided it was my time to kill a Bat Cycle, get some more points, and then I used the Bat Cycle with the zombie that I just killed with the Zombie Super Skrull to get the heck out of Dodge with it. And that forced him to come chase me, because at this point I'd also killed the Tim Hunter, because I knew Jordan had a pretty interesting trick of accelerating Tim Hunter down to his last click, but I knew he had 2 clicks left, so it was do 2 clicks or die. So I did the 2 clicks, of course. And then, yeah, it was kind of my game from there. In hindsight, I probably could have taken the Tim Hunter, but I think I killed him with the Johnny Quick, which is why I lost to Johnny Quick. Some of the details are a little fuzzy on that one.
Yeah, you hypersonic speeded in on my Tim Hunter with your Johnny Quick after I already hit your Johnny Quick, but you
Right.
were able to kill my Tim Hunter, and then my Johnny Quick pushed to kill your Johnny Quick.
Yeah, and that's
Then
what
your
we were
Super
putting down
Skrull
with Johnny
killed.
Quick. So I knew I had a turn to move forward with the Super Skrull, and then the next turn to charge and kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things I played with the Johnny Quick enough times I know the dial thickness well enough to make some adjustments like that. But Jordan played it out really well. Played it best he could, and I knew from the get-go that Jordan's team was suited to beat mine, so I knew I had to play it like his team was ready to beat mine, and pick and choose my actions accordingly. My third round was against another local guy, so I'm so glad I traveled to play against all my local guys. In Tom Kerr, Tom is he's pretty popular for playing with an unorthodox style. He came to my ROC Winna map at the Comic Warehouse with Beyonder, Flatman, Engineer, and Captain Marvel Prime, and that was an outrageously awesome, fun, cool team to see on the map. And this time he played to the new meta. He brought Proxima Midnight, Johnny Quick, and he borrowed my Spider-Bot and Blue Lantern Recruit, which I now regret letting him do. And he also had a Star Labs tech, that's right. And basically our teams went Alpha Strike, Alpha Strike, Alpha Strike, and then clap in the middle and see who wins in the end. I actually found out from Tom later on, the next round he played against Kevin Afruz. What had happened was he had Proxima Midnight get a token on my Super Skrull, and my Super Skrull was on last click. I had two options. I either hope that he rolls a 1 or a 2 when he tries to roll the spear, or I take Invincible and hope I don't roll a 1 or a 2 and take damage from it.
Oh, no.
And I decided I was going to take the Invincible, and I rolled the 1 or the 2, and my Super Skrull died, and then that was it. Incidentally, in the game that Tom played against Kevin, Kevin decided not to take his risk and do damage to himself, and risked it on Tom rolling the dice, and his risk paid off as he got into the top 8. And then my fourth round was against Kyle Rayner, and I'm pretty I played against enough Kyle Rayners. The Zombie Super Skrull is a very strong matchup against it. This guy's team was the Kyle Rayner, Despotellus. I can't remember the rest of his. I think there was a Bat Cycle on there as well. There was a Bat Cycle and a Captain Marvel Prime or something to that effect. There was a Captain Marvel Prime, maybe not a Bat Cycle. Either way, I knew first thing I had to do was get rid of the Captain Marvel Prime because he's going to be giving +1 defenses to people. That's just annoying. So what I did with my first attack was he moved very far forward, which was Kyle Rayner's an aggressive character. You can't not try to get him within a decent range. So what I did is instead of what I usually did was TK with a Johnny Quick with +2 to his stats, I instead gave Johnny Quick a Precision Strike, gave him +2 to the stats, and went perplexed up his attack and went on to the Captain Marvel Prime, which with the Precision Strike he doesn't get his super senses. As a result, I'm able to do the full 5 damage to him, and then I came in with the Zombie Super Skrull, attacked the Despotellus because he rolled a shape change with the Captain Marvel. He attempted the Pulse Wave. It didn't work out so well for him. And then I went on and killed the Captain Marvel Prime. Johnny Quick picked up the Despotellus, but what I did in this case was I moved the Despotellus closer to my starting area. Then I used Johnny Quick's Perplex power so that Despotellus couldn't use the follow power and sidestepped away from Despotellus, keeping him stranded near my. No, sorry. What I did was. Yeah, that's what I did because So sorry, I gave him used a Perplex token, got rid of the standard power. I actually made an attack with the Star Labs tech too because I had 3 range. It was within range. What the heck, right? He had an 18 defense. I missed that attack. That was all in. In the meantime, I had Kyle Rayner fighting a Zombie Super Skrull, which was going fairly well for me. As he missed. The second he got to his God Click and made some attacks, he missed everything, which is always hard to see because he needed like 4s to hit, and he was rolling 3s. So my heart sunk to him because I've been in that position too. Where it's just like, there's no way I can. Well, okay, apparently there is a way I can miss this, and it happened to him twice with the awesome click from Kyle Rayner. And then I believe I managed to bait the Despotellis into the starting area with Johnny Quick, and then did some damage with Blind Owl. And at this point, it was just try to get Kyle down. And Zombie Super Skrull did a major exploit weakness attack to finish off Kyle Rayner past his regeneration clicks. I ended up 2-2 in 11th place, just ahead of Jordan. But behind
just a smidgen.
It's just a little. It was actually by a couple points, to be brutally honest.
It was like 30 points, 40 points.
And I ended up going on to play in the side event, the Team Ability side event, and the Sealed. The Team Ability side event was a single elimination tournament. In the first round, I played against Tom again, and this time he used the Beyonder with 2 Hulk robots. So his Team Ability was Power Cosmic. I went with a CSA second stringers, so I have Johnny Quick, Deathstorm, the Atomica, Outsider, and Power Ring. And he almost beat me with 2 Hulk robots and a Beyonder. It came down to Power Ring versus Beyonder. That's how intense the game was. But Power Ring had Pulse Wave on the click that I had him on, and I managed to finish off the Beyonder. Second round, I got beat by Jordan, so because he went on to win that, we all know that went down. No amount of probability control from the CSA was going to help me on this one when he needs to roll 3s to hit.
Yeah, it was like, and whoever was deciding to hit, it would just be like, no, none of them get Pulse Wave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting all your guys.
Yeah. So I went on to the Sealed. I pulled, once again, a massive amount of CSA. My team consisted of Sea King, Grid, Owlman, and Element Woman, who was really just there to take tokens, and I really wanted her to attract fire because she comes with a shape change, super senses, and impervious, but nobody was dumb enough to attack her. It was unfair. I ended up getting second place in that, or third place in that tournament, sorry. Tim Bold had a bye and got second place, only behind by about 70 points. And in the final game that he was playing against the guy who pulled a White Rabbit. And if he would have killed the White Rabbit 2 more times, he actually would have got first place. But the kid who got first place, who actually beat me in the final round, was using, it was a 400-point Sealed, and he was using Martian Manhunter and John Constantine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I was 1 less action per turn.
You said it right.
3 props. Constantine and 1 from Martian Manhunter. So you know what I did? I took the grid and I said Pulse Wave Constantine. And yeah, that was all I could do in that game. And his name was Ty, and he ended up going on to win that tournament and got himself a Dark Phoenix Cyclops. Funny thing is that was based on that the prizes were pick a prize from the table of prizes. And 4th place ended up with a Necron. So I think that's a pretty reasonable Seal tournament for him. And this is the same guy who also pulled a White Rabbit in the Seal too. So
I came in 5th in that tournament and got a dice cup.
Why'd you pick Resurrection Man over Necron?
Because the space that we had on the card wasn't going to necessitate another Necron since Jordan had already won one.
Oh yeah, there was no more room for anything else.
No, there wasn't. Yeah.
And
Not even another Con Ellie.
Our driver is a relatively new player to the game, so I don't think he's had a chance to get any of the con stuff. And I wanted him to have a Resurrection Man because Resurrection Man is an outrageously fun piece to play, and he's a pretty strong piece as far as the game is concerned in general. So, yeah.
And he was our driver who drove us an outrageous distance. So shout out to him.
He drove down from Sudbury to Islington Station in the far west side of Toronto, picked us all up there, and then drove all the way to Windsor, which is another 4.5 hours.
Yeah, so he drove about
over 8 hours that day as a trooper.
Yeah, so he deserved a Resurrection Man. All right, so Jay, we know. Jay, are you there?
Uh-oh.
Are you guys seeing a blank screen too right now?
I'm seeing a frozen screen.
I see Jay, but he's like...
Jay?
My internet is shit, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. Back to life. So, from what we've told of the event, what you've heard about the event, And it's probably worth mentioning. There was actually three. I'm sorry, before you go, 3 world champs showed up to this event. Former world champ George Masu, the man responsible for Black Adam. This year's world champion Patrick and his teammate in the team world championship Kevin Afru is all there. So it was great to see such a high caliber of player playing. And congratulations on Patrick for coming out of your pseudo-retirement or your hiding and coming and wrecking us all. He's got it, man. He's really good. He played an excellent game against Tim Bold in the final, which I actually have on video, which we'll be sharing on the channel once me and Amber add some commentary over it, so we can kind of blow the background noise, because the background noise wasn't exactly the best to hear. You didn't hear a lot of what was going on. Both players were kind of soft-spoken, talking directly to each other. So
all you heard was in the background the rowdy players in the corner, us mainly.
Yeah,
playing the Battle Royale, yeah, with Counter Frizz.
Yeah,
it was like match also went on during my match, and
yeah,
I was like, every time I had to hit Gluttony with the pulse wave, it was nerve-wracking. It was like, ah!
Honestly, though, in every game after the main event, if you were near my table, I was laughing with my opponent. Because I was just out to have fun after the main event. The main event is where you try hard. The side events, it's time for everybody to have some fun. So I try to get everybody laughing. And I know me and Tom we were in stitches the entire time. And there's people watching our game and helping us, keep the laughter going. But Jay, you've heard our stories. You've heard some of the news from the event trickling out. Anything surprise you? Anything you want to know you didn't quite catch, or?
I don't remember you mentioning the winning team, but because I was going to comment on that, which it was Kyle Rayner, presumably with Constructs, Brother Voodoo, Despotellis.
Yeah, I think I only ever saw him play with the wall with the Kyle Rayner. So
why would you not? It's the best one.
Absolutely.
The only other time I would switch is like if you really need the spotlight for stealth, but like.
Exactly. That'd be like one of the few situations I can think of.
Yeah. Brother Voodoo as a counter to Zombie Super Scroll was not something I anticipated or thought of. It was pretty neat. Because when you think Prime in the meta, you're pretty much thinking Captain Marvel in this format. So seeing another one, like I noticed that Brother Voodoo kind of just like appeared in the meta and he was awesome. And then he disappeared. Then he came back. Then he disappeared again. And then he just came back. So it's like.
Yeah. No, he was really good.
What it comes down to, I think, is sometimes in the major meta games, something beats something. And then that something that it beats kind of drifts away. But then the next thing to beat the next something shows up. But in the space of time before that last something becomes retired, you find out that the last something beats the new something. That's kind of what happens is Brother Voodoo comes back because he's got tricks against Zombie Super Scroll, and Brother Voodoo is just a really good character as a whole. I mean, he does still have problems with characters like Banshee, who stops his super senses, and there's a lot of precision strike, which kind of hurts him. Poison, he doesn't have any defense, the damage reducers, so he doesn't bring a lot to what's being out there. But at the same time, he's a really good character who fits. Enough, he still plays well against enough teams that he's not worth not taking. You know what I mean?
He's just so good for the points already.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Especially, I would like to see somebody pull off something like free action mind control at the beginning of the turn, go next to him, get the poison off, and then also have a super scroll to do some poison and just kill them with poison.
Funny you should mention that, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan. Poison.
Stuck in that smoke. Okay, no, he's good.
Poison.
Oh no.
What ended up happening to me in my game against George Masu, which was it was not part of the tournament. We just played a fun game that we actually got a chance to film. Once again, we have to add commentary to it. We actually lost the sound on that video though because my normal camera is a piece of trash. But
is it white trash?
It's an iPad.
It actually is white.
Yeah. Actually, it's black.
Oh.
Wow. You're all racist.
Anyway, long story short is George has started a turn with a mind-controlled, or with Brother Voodoo. He mind-controlled my Zombie Super Scroll, put him in the middle of of two Carrions who were part of his team, and commenced poisoning me. And at this point, I was like, uh-oh, I didn't think of that. And I'm about to run into a problem with 2 carrions with exploit weakness hitting me. Spoiler alert, what really changed the game was I was actually able to roll the scroll shape change for once in my life, twice in a row. And that really bailed me out of trouble in that game. The video will be out soon enough of that one. And it was a really fun game. I love playing with George. George is a great guy. I got a chance to have breakfast with him before the tournament. Got a chance to talk with him. He does sound like this year is his last hurrah for a little bit, much like Daniel was saying in my episode of Champ Chat with him. He's kind of moving on to bigger things in his life with his career. So I wish George all the best. I hope that he does get a chance to at least get one more chance at Worlds, and we'll see where it goes from there. But speaking of Worlds and national level play, let's talk about something that we've just recently heard announced officially. And I'm going to pull that up right now. Carta Magica has made the announcement, and I checked with Justin. He's okay with us saying we have our Canadian Nationals coming up. The official date, April 25th to 26th. This is going to be in Ottawa, Ontario, the nation's capital, and it's going to be run almost exactly the same as it was run last year. There's going to be 4 qualifying tournaments for it. The first is a 300 modern age constructed, $15 entry fee. This is the one the first one is at 9 a.m., the second one's at 3 p.m. In between each tournament, there will be sealed, so it's going to alternate constructed, sealed, constructed, sealed. You're able to pre-register on the website here. It's cartamagicastore.com/blog, and you'll be able to see the listing for the WizKids Canadian Championships there. And of course, as always, there's going to be battle royales. Bear with my really, really slow computer as I scroll down. So like I said, there's going to be sealed as well. Sealed, $30 entry fee, 2 Marvel DC boosters. I don't know what packs to expect in that. I guess it'll depend on the Battle Royale. Last year, the last round of sealed was a grab bag of things because they were running really low on product. With any luck that they had, they pre-ordered a whole bunch of stuff for this with this in anticipation, and we'll see how that ends up. That said, of course, the prize pool consists of actually this year the Canadians are going to get a chance to make the ATA, as well as a bunch of LE prizes. Top 2. So if you see it, you see top 2, top 4, top 8. So if you're in the top 1, you get 2 and 4 and 8, all that kind of idea, right? And as well, each tournament they've listed, so the top 8 in each of the pre-rounds will get a Con LE. 8 random people who didn't get in the top 8 are going to get a Con LE. So at least half the people in each of the grinder events is going to get LEs. They're going to have of course, the Con exclusive Colossals, and the Con exclusive Faust, Felix Faust, and Doctor Strange. Of course, there'll be sided events including battle royales. Duo battle royales. On the Sunday, they're holding the Dice Masters Canadian National Championship, going down, and they're also on the Sunday having the Star Trek Attack Wing Canadian National Championship. It's going to be a busy weekend of WizKids Gamings for those of you who are all about that. So I know I'm going, and I'm pretty sure Mike and Jordan, you guys are confirmed now too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and Drake just booked the van.
We have a van. Yay! All right. Jay, thoughts? Are you planning on making this, or?
I don't know because my school is probably still striking, so that affects everything.
All right.
Yeah.
We're hoping you
news.
can make it, Jay. I know you can drive, so at the very least, your parents might be willing to loan you a car. Tell them I said pretty please. Look at his face.
Oh, please.
Oh, I do want to go. So.
All right. So it's been an exciting weekend. Exciting month coming up in April. Lots coming up. We also, don't forget, in June, there's a lot of talk about state provincial championships. I know of the venue that wants to do it in Ontario. They haven't officially announced anything yet on HC Realms, but I am planning on going to talk to them next week. And since that event is actually going to be held during Tactics time, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that actually before we go. We have about 13 minutes. Tactics time is coming. Are you guys happy to be starting to think about tactics again? Mike?
I have mixed feelings about it. I got really interested in the restriction with the no tactics. I made some really fun teams beyond what I ended up playing. It was a unique challenge, but there were like a very few very specific characters that were much better than the rest. So in the end, I think it really boiled down to like Kyle Rayner, Zombie Super Skrull, and maybe Casey Flash. Occasionally you'd see him as well, just ruling that spectrum. But with tactics being back, there's a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
Especially with all the batteries now. Because we didn't have it. All we had was the green battery last year at Nationals. So for this Nationals, you've never seen so many resources, especially since the retirement hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
There's just tons and tons of resources.
And that gets to be the scary part is this going to be, that is Canada going to have that last hurrah of the last bout of things before Worlds, or are they going to make the cut just before us like they did with us last year? I was okay with the cut being just before us last year. It was a lot less to have to worry about, to be honest. I mean, when you take 6 sets of threats out...
Yeah, if they don't take the sets out, I can promise you I'm playing Hope Summers in the Book of Skulls.
I was going to promise the same thing, to be brutally honest, that you were going to play the Hope Summers in the Book of Skulls. I know myself. I've got a couple things that I want to tool around with. Heck, even Amber has given me probably one of her most disgusting meta teams she's ever come up with, and I've helped her tweak it ever so slightly. Yeah, that's her in the background going, yeah! So, yeah. I'm really excited about the next coming couple months. I'm hoping to get all my paperwork done soon for Worlds. I do want to get out to Ohio and get it my big chance. Jay,
Get her done.
you're back. Tactics. You excited that they're coming back to into the mindset, the collective mindset?
Yes and no, because it's harder to build and there's more to think about, but it's not as much 3 or 2 main attackers that you basically have to play or plan against. So after some thought, I'm looking forward to tactics again.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, guys. As always, it's a pleasure having you guys join us. It's a pleasure having all the fans with us. We're looking forward to having another week of fresh videos for you guys. Some of it from the ROC and some of it back to the regular Metafix and Dial It Up. We'll see you guys next week. I'm lining up my champ chat shortly, so hopefully Sunday we'll get a chance to hear from another champ. I'm not sure if it's going to be the Windsor champ because I've already talked to him, but
I did say he was interested.
But I think we should get another chance at the limelight. I do have to go hunting for some more ROC champs in the meantime. So thank you for joining us, guys, and we'll see you guys next week. And remember, practice makes your team better.